call this meeting a regular council to order this day, April 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Additions to the agenda: consent agenda, appropriations ordinance, petty cash of $419.27, and executive session to discuss possible hire pursuant to the non-elected personnel manner exception for police. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. All right. Citizens' comments.
Stafford County Economic Development, I guess just maybe some background information, owns several properties around the county related to the work that we do. We own housing, we own commercial building, a couple of lots that are being essentially kind of held for potential development. We pay taxes on them. I think sometimes people don't realize that 501c3 is income tax exempt, but not property tax exempt. So in total, we pay about $11,500 worth of property taxes each year. And, you know, on properties that we receive income from, it's very, I think, fitting that we do. The state allows for property that is being used specifically for your tax exempt purpose to be exempted. You have to make an application to the Board of Tax Appeals. And now that the building that we're putting the shared workspace in will be used entirely for our tax exempt charitable programming, we think that it would be helpful to reduce the overhead for that year in and year out. And maybe I should give a little more detail. I don't know, I kind of assume maybe that people know more about what we're doing there than they maybe do. So the space, we've actually got a grant pending with USDA that would give us additional funding to make some modifications to the downstairs space. The upstairs space is actually also being used for tax exempt purposes. We're housing AmeriCorps interns that are essentially giving a service year to work here on community betterment projects. We have one person that has already moved here. We've got 2 other positions we're hiring, advertising for. But that is a part of how we can recruit those service members to our areas, providing them housing. So that's in the upstairs part. The downstairs part we're proposing to use as a shared workspace that has maybe additional services than what you might see in a shared workspace typical in, like, say, Wichita, which might be just, hey, you've got space here, rent it and work. What we're trying to do is be more proactive in helping people find productive employment, especially in the remote work field. So we know that there are thousands of jobs out there that hire remote employees, but we also have some assumptions that, one, it's hard to even know what those jobs are, where they are, how to find them. There's a range. There's entry-level jobs. There's, things that are very, very technical, computer engineering and so forth. Most of our population's not going to be qualified for that, but there are ones that perhaps they would be, and especially if we provide an element of digital literacy training, and if we can kind of assess what the right employers need and what our people need, we may be able to find other types of training that we can bring in and offer to help people be qualified to get those jobs. So the USDA grant that we should know by the end of the month whether we got or not. And if we don't get this one, we're going to keep trying other ways to get the job, get it done. But it would allow us to make some modifications to the space downstairs. It's got a bathroom that's really not very adequate. It would allow us to install a couple of ADA bathrooms, set up cubicles, a couple of offices that are segregated as separate offices where you could close the door if your job needed that. It would allow us to buy equipment, offset some of our overhead for the first year and the like. The intent is to run that as an ongoing program, charge a minimal fee that offsets our cost of utilities and internet. Even just the idea that we're providing high-speed internet is a an important factor in this because we've come to the understanding that some of the companies that will hire will do speed tests, and if you don't have high enough speed on your internet connection, even if you're otherwise qualified for the job, they won't hire you. We know not everybody's got that to their home, being able to provide that, and we've benefited from the idea that Golden Belt Telephones recently installed the fiber optic capability that can deliver a terabyte of capacity there. So that's a nice feature that we're able to kind of capitalize on. I think our assumption is also just having a structured workspace may help some people who not working, working from home may not be for everyone. If we can kind of offer a structured environment, some again, training and support, maybe support even on an ongoing basis to maintain the job, that will be a benefit. We're hoping that we can service 15-ish people. It would be probably our max capacity at a time, but if we get 5, that's more than most startup businesses are generating here. So it would be be something. So coming back to the reason I'm here, we have made an application to the Board of Tax Appeals that because we're using this as specifically our tax exempt charitable purpose, that we'd be exempt from the property tax. The county submitted that they put it, the county's consented to it basically. They said they make note that the county recommends the request for exemption be granted. The county did not request a hearing, but the Board of Tax Appeals did ask for a couple of additional pieces of information. They asked for us to provide our 501c3 proof, to fill out a questionnaire, and the reason I'm here is they asked us to submit a letter provided by a community leader, elected official, or state agency evidencing that there is community need for the service. So it doesn't have to come from City Council, but it could, or the mayor or whatever. And I'm essentially asking if you'd be willing to provide that. I'm trying to make it a little easier, drafted a letter, which I did in the car on the way home from Manhattan today, so I don't have it printed off, but it didn't have to be this, but if this makes it easier to have something to decide on, it says, I'm writing in support of Stafford County Economic Development's application for exemption of ad valorem taxes at 311 North Broadway in St. John. The activities that Stafford County Economic Development proposes within the building are a part of carrying out its charitable economic development purposes. Our community very much needs job creation and to reverse the population decline in order to maintain critical public services that the City of St. John provides, as well as local schools, grocery store, and healthcare. The service that EcoDevo proposes to offer at 311 North Broadway to include training, shared office space and equipment, and support to citizens in acquiring remote jobs is a valuable service and fills a community need not being met by other local agencies or companies. Additionally, the second-story apartment will provide living space to AmeriCorps interns who are giving a year of community service to community improvement. All of these activities are humanitarian and improve social welfare in our community.
So it's as simple as the mayor's signature, no attorney fees we're gonna have, correct?
No.
Just the 20 minutes since she started talking.
The time you'll never get back.
Well, let's keep it simple, I mean, I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with it.
Didn't the city submit a letter with the USDA grant application?
Yes, that was a grant application. This is a separate, it's just a separate deal. It's specifically the,
Well, if council's
Property
okay with me going ahead and signing that,
Yep.
then
I'm
we'll
fine with it.
be able to take care of that for you, so.
okay,
All right,
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll email it to Jamie and we
Yeah.
can get it signed tomorrow.
get it signed tomorrow when I come in here. So,
Okay,
all right.
perfect.
Great, thank you.
you.
Okay, any more citizens' comments?
I
I was wondering about that. Okay. Consent agenda. Approved minutes, regular council meeting, April 2nd, 2019. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. 5-0. Appropriation ordinance 4-16-19 in the amount of $38,002.70 and petty cash of $419.27. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
That's for,
Recreational wings.
yeah. Jeff, on, what's the deal with this, it says a service for your Dodge at Marmies, what is that,
That's
Probably
police
would've been
departments.
for what?
Probably when Jim took it up there last time for those headlights.
Oh, they fixed the headlights?
No, they didn't.
When they didn't put oil in it.
No, that was a fish, that was a, what's the date on that, you say?
325, it was invoice date,
Right,
so,
25.
'Cause
I
that
just
was
want to point
that
out
was in
that all
February when
invoices
that-
are available.
yeah, that's why I was confused.
I don't
'Cause
remember.
You drive a Dodge and then
Yeah, but
the
I
city
don't, I haven't
was,
taken it up there, but I
Okay.
followed you one day and picked you up, but I
Yeah,
don't
you
remember
went
what
up there
day
and
it
picked me up.
we
was.
don't know what that bill's for,
How much
Wasn't
is-
anything mine.
427.
Yeah, that's when they checked out the Dodge truck and said that it needed.
I thought that's how much was
Needed an
headlights.
overhaul when it needed oil.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm just getting at, like, to service our stuff down here is all
Yeah,
we can do.
yeah, I
on-
think that's probably what that's from,
I mean,
if I'm guessing.
Well, just like I told you guys, I mean, we're on top of it now, so.
It was invoice date, so I mean, it could have been early in March if they billed out at the end of the month.
That's not the day they did work. Okay.
Yeah, because that would have been the end of February, because I
Yeah,
believe
Bill said.
Yeah, I think
our
it
former
was.
chief was
Bill signed
left
it.
on the 5th of March.
Yeah, we did that before he left,
Yeah.
yeah.
Zach,
Bill Elliott.
he just took it up there because of the knocking
Or
sound,
the
wasn't it?
headlights.
and
Because
the
we're having a
headlights.
headlight issue, just
Yeah.
wanted to check it out.
Dang, it's expensive.
And the date that that was done,
The invoice date was from 3/11/19.
I don't think we've seen the invoice for him taking the truck up there.
That was
to have
that's
the
probably not
headlights
correct. That
repaired
would've
or the,
Not right for
I'm-
The knock
I'm
in the
guessing
engine.
that's probably right.
I was
that
trying to
last
put-
council
put it
meeting,
together.
Jim was
Yeah, I don't
Chief
think
was
we've seen the
all
invoice.
there, it's
Before.
325, I mean, obviously,
The invoice date appears 3/1.
3/1.
Yeah, that's probably
think
close.
that's
About right,
So they replaced the pulley idler tension belt,
yes.
Yeah,
and then the,
Because it had a power
just to
steering
check,
column.
to
and
check
that's-
out the lights, it was 150. Alright, I'm just getting that, if we got this down here, let's use it, guys.
And we discussed that before too.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, I have a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I abstain.
Motion 4-1. Christie abstains. Okay. Moving on, department heads. Lisa Cornwell, have we heard anything from her?
Yes, they're supposed to get back with her at the end of school to talk about the signs.
Okay. All right, police chief, up here.
He's in training right now for until Thursday.
Mhm.
Everything's going good in the department.
Okay. Alright, sounds good. Okay, fire chief's not here. City clerk.
Just to speak a little bit on the welcome signs, I guess, when Amy had contacted me and was gonna come talk. I think I don't know if part or all of her issue has been taken care of. We got water. Did we get water in there today? We got water with timers
Yep.
up there today, so that should all be done. I researched back when all of that was done, and it sounds like when is it Grayson? Is that when he came and asked for all of that it was even before that, I think, that the water had been requested. So hopefully now with those timers and all of that, we can go forward a little bit better, and I think she plans on working on it the first week of May, and she's been working well with David and Jeff to get all of that taken care of. So
Before she wanted water and Mel had left her a hose out there and now we put sprinklers inside of those flower beds and we've got timers on them, so
yeah.
whatever she wants to do with them, we'll set them accordingly, so.
Yeah, I would just advise whose ever job it is, you know, it doesn't really matter, but it's the frontage of coming in St. John
Yep,
and,
Yep,
you know, as long
Yep.
as it gets done, that's the main thing.
yep.
And I guess since I put it on there, we need to approval to pay this $3,000 invoice for the nitrate plant. It's that email I had sent to you guys. It's a yearly fee, if I understand right.
Yeah, it's a yearly maintenance fee to calibrate all the nitrate equipment out there that reads the nitrates coming through the water.
So I called to try to get a better understanding and they're, if you see on the back page, that surcharge, it's a minimum of $3,000 every time they come, so.
Do we by law have to do it yearly?
Well, it's better if we do it yearly, yeah. You know, we have a good grasp on where the nitrates are, and that lets us blend the water to the highest we can without having to run it through treatment. So it's pretty accurate. We try and blend as much and treat as little as we can, so.
That damn place has a lot of hidden fees. Pretty Prairie's putting one in.
They're
Well,
putting in a
that's
reverse osmosis plant though. It's
sorry.
different than this. And
That's
when they're done with it, I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah.
Cause it will work different than this one does.
Alright, well,
Surprised
Make
it's
a
still
motion.
working.
how much was it, Jimmy?
That's someone that we have been using, they've upped their charge, is that right?
Yeah, Jeff said he thought that it used
We've
to be
used
like
them since the day they put it in, yeah.
But and what cause I looked, I tried to prepare to see if you guys were gonna try to ask me to look around, but all of their
They
Like,
own
it's
all the
all-
equipment.
all of their equipment. So we would have to essentially restart with a different company if that was something you would need to do. So it's like, I mean, there's your $3,000 bill for their equipment, unless you want it to be a bigger.
It's kind of a rent and a checkup both. The analyzer alone's about 20 grand, so.
That equipment out, some of the equipment out there is not the city of St. John's.
No,
No.
it's ours.
No, the Hawk equipment is not ours.
It's not ours?
No,
Well, that's a good thing, because I mean, if stuff breaks,
yeah.
Do
Well,
we
you're
pay
gonna
for
pay
it, or-
for it.
or
We're
do
gonna
they
pay
re-
for it.
I mean, he, you know, anything that's done at that time, he repairs it. I mean, I don't think he's ever charged us for anything he's done in there, but it's just pretty high to get him to come out.
yeah, Loveland, Colorado.
Yeah, once a year. Yeah, it's usually always in the last part of April or first part of May.
We don't have a choice now at this point.
It's a joy of treating
Yeah.
water. I'm sorry, guys.
Can't argue with it, I guess. I mean, we can, but it's not gonna do us any good.
Yeah.
So do I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 4-1.
Our Easter egg hunt is Saturday. The seniors from the school are going to be doing a sausage and pancake feed. The Easter egg hunt starts at 9. Jubilee's in like 38 or I think it's 38. Someone came and told me the numbers yesterday, but I was half listening, so it's almost here. It's almost planned. And we're still accepting donations. I think that's it.
All right. Any other questions for Jamie?
Jamie, on the rec board, do you think you could ask Burke if they can somehow start sending minutes in our packets from the rec meetings? We appointed Burke, so
I'll take care of it.
does that sound good to you guys?
I'm fine with that.
Add that to the packet.
Might as well
Keep
keep
a little
the,
bit informed. Yeah.
keep the lines of communication open. I agree, so yeah.
Do they publish minutes is my next question.
Probably not, but I'm sure.
I bet they're
Do
gonna
it,
change their
keep-
ways.
Yeah.
Probably gonna have to. All right, any other questions? Okay, moving on. City Superintendent Jeff Williams.
Where do we start? I don't know whether any of you walked over and looked at the fountain or not. We started chipping away the old plaster and stuff that was on it. It was cracking terrible. It's been leaking for a long, long time. And we band-aided it, band-aided it. And it came off in bigger chunks than what we'd expected by quite a ways. Of course, the fountain's over 100 years old. And Trent is looking into the possibility. He's afraid that he can't repair it the way that it is. The concrete's saturated on the inside and in quite a few places, and we've got some spots that are big enough you can put a notebook through. We're researching the possibility of putting a, how should I say it, a manufactured bowl back in that fountain that would look almost identical to what's there. Two small problems. One of them is the only place we've found is in Georgia that makes one like it. The lead time on them is about 6 weeks. And the cost is about $225 a lineal foot,
So how much is that?
which at 56 point so many feet, it's about $13,000 for the bowl. That's not installing it, that's not any of the rest of it. And he'd suggested we put a liner in the bottom of it, and that way we don't have that problem anymore. But at this point, that's really about all I can tell you. The fountain is, of course, you know, we've taken it down, blasted it, and painted it several times over the years. If we do get to that point, I want to take that fountain down and have it powder coated. There's a guy in Great Bend that will blast it and powder coat it for $1,000, which I think is probably about what we've been paying Warren Brothers to come down, blast it, and paint it. So we can take it in 2 pieces and take it up there and have it done. It'll be ceramic look from now on and won't have any rust problems anymore. So that's probably the least of our worries on it. So anyway, next thing, I've had several calls from several councilmen. Some of you I've met with, some of you I haven't, on Southwest Street. And I've taken part of you down there and showed you what we're up against. And the problem does not lie really with the street. It lies with the 100 feet coming off of the railroad. And it's railroad property. It doesn't belong to the city. So I've contacted the rail master out of Kansas City, and he's supposed to send the local guy, which I think he's out of Hutchison, he's supposed to contact me, and we're gonna go down and look and see if they'll allow us to elevate that, because at the track side, it needs to come up about 3 feet and go out probably 100 or 150 feet at a gradual slope, which will take a very large sum of material. At this point, we don't know where we're gonna get the material or what we ought to put in there, because whatever we put's gonna have to be packed really, really well, because if it does get wet, you won't get through it. So we're waiting on them to see what they decide on that, because without them, we've tried to play the game of doing things without them before, and it usually comes back to slap you. So we're gonna wait, we're not impatient. It's been located, and the phone cable's out of the way, so we can go ahead and cut the ditch and that stuff, but we don't see much need in doing it until we can do it all at one time. So as long as we can keep it smooth enough to drive, we're gonna try and leave it alone for now. We're gonna generate tomorrow for Midwest Energy. They're gonna change a couple of switches down in the substation south of town, so we'll go on our own power about 8 o'clock, and we'll be there till about 5 tomorrow night. The lift stations, we've replaced the seals and some sonic starts on the one down Cherry Lane. We've got it up and running for now. I was hoping that I would have a quote, like I told some of you, that we could update that station, which that station was put in '74 or 5, I think. And it could stand some updating. The equipment's, you know, the impellers are getting raw, they're pretty worn, and the pumps are just, they've got a lot of hours on them. But I did not get a quote back from him, so I really don't know where we're at on that deal. So we've had some sewer problems, as some of you know, and we've had some lift station problems out at the sewer plant and some of that, but at least for now, we've kind of got everything under control. So we're gonna have to do some work out there too, but we're gonna try and put it off to the fall. So anyway, that's about all I have.
So as far as the fountain goes, whatever we figure now, I mean, we need to figure something out. Jubilee's a
Yeah,
month away.
about 5 weeks away.
So, I
Yeah,
mean,
and I'm pushing Trent. I've pushed him really hard, and I talked to him again this afternoon, and he's working at it just as hard as I am. We're both trying to find somebody to try and get us some kind of an answer about what we can do.
Well,
So, you know, it's going to be a deal that I may need to have to call you at pretty short notice, because there's going to be a fairly large expense involved. Jamie and I and Pam kind of looked through the amount of funds that we have with park funds and donated funds and stuff like that today, and there's money there to repair it. So, you know, when I need an answer, I'm probably going to have one fairly quick. So, anyway. Don't
So
have
should
too
we
many
get an answer
options.
Tonight?
Great big swimming pool, I guess,
Should
but
we get an answer tonight?
it's a perfect circle and it's one of them things that's hard to replace.
Well, I mean, you're saying it's torn apart right now, right?
You
Like,
go
it's-
over, you go over to look at it.
Because-
Yeah.
It can be fixed, I mean, you don't have much of a choice.
You say a manufactured bowl, I mean, is it?
It's a
like
precast deal in sections, and it fits together, and you epoxy the joints, and then, you put like a stucco coating over the top of it when you're done. But it's
Custom
cast,
made for our fountain,
it's made for fountains that size.
I see.
And they make them bigger than that, but this one has an 18-foot diameter. So, you know, I'll know more in the next couple days, but until they call back, I think there must be a fairly high demand for the company that does it, because she said the guy'd been out and he should be back in tonight or tomorrow, that really does the bidding on those. So I'm guessing it's a small company that probably does it.
So
But
when
I-
it comes in, then Trent will put the stucco or.
We'll help
whatever,
them, we'll help
get
them
it
set it.
placed.
Well, if we have to wreck that out, which I think we're probably gonna have to, we don't need to pay him to do it. We'll bring a jackhammer over to the guys and I'll take care of it. We'll get it out, get it cleaned up. We wanna do some plumbing underneath there while we do. The umbrella's in kinda tough shape on the top. It was built in the 60s. We're gonna take it over in the shop and put some new metal on it, and then we'll take it up and have it powder coated with everything else. So, you know, as soon as I know from him what we can do with the bowl, we're gonna take the fountain apart, get our plumbing and stuff done, get everything done and ready for that bowl. So, see what kind of setup we have to have for it, what kind of base they want, you know, or what they recommend under it and that stuff, so. Because all it will be the walls probably, I'm guessing. So the bottom will have to be poured back in. But
Wait, Trent, he can't make a wall?
he told me he didn't want to tackle it. He
Yeah.
really
It's
did.
a lot of back pressure.
Yeah, well, the thing we were worried about was how to set the forms up. You know, if we were Borton and we poured granaries and elevators for a business, we'd have the stuff to do it. But, you know, if
Well-
you've ever watched the forms they build, I mean, it takes a tremendous amount of talent to put it together and make it right. So,
But you're saying there's not a lot of options, but it's kind of what I'm thinking is for him to come up with several options and then we can have a meeting and pick one of them.
well, he sent me two
Must-
pictures and that was his two options.
From one company?
Yep, and that's it. I mean, we've called everybody. I've
Okay.
researched all day trying to find somebody else that would make one that big. You can get them to 10 or 12 feet, but this one is 18.
But it's 6 weeks out.
That was the last word that we got. Now, the
I won't
page
hear
may
the
change tomorrow.
We won't hear the end of it if it
I
looks
know,
like shit.
I know exactly what you're saying. I mean,
I
I've
have
been
a-
sweating
I have a
bullets.
solution for you not hearing the end of it.
What's that?
Tell them to come in here and fill out a complaint form like they're supposed to be doing.
And tell them to put their money in front and we'll sure take all donations.
Jeff, we don't have any idea how much this is going to cost at all?
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be in the $20,000 range. It might be a little bit more.
What did you say it was, a linear foot,
225.
225?
It's a little over 56 feet in the
56
circumference
feet,
of it.
yeah.
So it was about 13,000 just for that, plus the
Just
freight.
Just for the,
Because you're gonna have to freight it up from Georgia. I mean, you know,
that'll be
it'll be $3,000 or $4,000.
$4,000 a loaded
Yeah,
mile.
sure.
So once it's put together, Trent would stucco the
Then
entire
we'll
thing.
stucco
get
it,
rid of
see,
the
we'll
seams.
epoxy it together and put the bottom in it. It'll be
Don't you
ready to
hate
go.
going to Georgia, you can bring it back on a backhaul?
And you said we have, what account would that come out of? We have-
There's about 3 or 4. There's a couple of different funds. I was researching some before you guys come in. We've got several park funds that we can take some of that money out of, and then we have a
Dwindle of Jubilee.
I forget what we call it. We have one fund that we take capital outlay type stuff for park stuff and that out of it. So together between the three of them, there's probably 30 to 35,000 there. So I mean, there's money available to do it. But you know, if you either give me the go ahead and do it, or I'll have to call a short meeting when the time comes, because we won't be able to wait.
No.
So, because we need every minute we can get here. I hate to be
6
filling it
weeks,
on
huh?
Friday
6 weeks,
afternoon,
that's
let's
when
put
we
it
get
that
here.
way. On the weekend of Jubilee. I'd really like to have it done by
Yeah, I
then,
mean, that's the thing.
you know.
I mean, what I'm thinking is, I don't know how bad it looks, but if it's for sure, like we're looking at 6 weeks, I would my opinion is to patch it back up the best you
You
can,
ain't
throw
patching
paint on
it.
it.
You ain't
You're not
patching it,
patching
you
it.
need to go look at it.
You go over and
ain't
look at
patching
it. And see, the other idea was, and Trent said this, that he talked to a pool guy, and they talked about building a liner for the inside of it that would fit up underneath the cove. And then it would be a permanent fix. Of course, we'd probably have to cover it in the wintertime, you know, so that the sun, because once you take the water out of it, take a chance of that shrinking. And Ross knows because his folks got a pool like that, I do too. And if you take the water out of it, that liner gets all kinds of weird. So we'd have to build something to cover it in the wintertime. But in the long run, the maintenance would go down by probably 50 or 60%. I mean, we wouldn't have a leak problem. You know, it'd be easier to clean, easier to keep clean, because we put chlorine in it now. I mean, so we can keep the algae down in it. But a liner would make it easier to brush and clean, you know, and we're gonna redo the plumbing underneath it to be able to push the dirt into the bottom of it and let it suck the dirt through it. If we have to filter it in the bottom, you know, bringing it back to make it easier, because now when we do it, we have to drain it, wash it and scrub it down and put it back in again.
It's a nightmare.
But,
Well,
I guess I would keep looking into it and call us as soon as you know, and
I will. I'll just have Jamie let you
where do you
know.
put a cap on it if you tell me?
Well, he's got 30,000.
what else is that money used
I
for?
mean, you could do
This
that.
park stuff. Yeah.
It's up
I
to
mean, if
council.
they're gonna get-
Well, just, yeah, anything, any kind of
6
maintenance
weeks
that needs
never
done
means
in
Well,
the
it'd make
park.
it easier, it'd
Yeah.
make it easier just
Six
to.
weeks,
I mean, like the
Then we
fertilizer
spent
they're putting
25
on
on
tonight,
this
it comes out of that
It
fund.
makes it easier if he goes ahead and you give him the
Six
authority to
means
go
six.
ahead and
And that's 6 there, not
approve this. You know, it makes it easier, but we don't know how much it's going to be.
Your funds
Well,
are
Yeah,
general
we can call
budget
a special
funds and
meeting
ad valorem,
as
they're
quickly as
not
we can,
from a
If we can avoid that.
Cornwell grant or anything.
Yes,
like
some of
that.
them are.
Some of them are.
Yes,
So
yes.
some of them are
Yeah.
not
He
taxpayer
said that
money.
money is
Exactly,
used for the
exactly.
parks.
I read
We're-
through that,
we're
in
at the
fact,
beginning of the
we
season
wondered
right
about
now.
that Cornwell fund, so I read through that deal tonight, and it said to be used inside the city for things like
I
that,
know,
so.
if you kind of don't have
that
to-
money
really
can
don't
be
have
used.
the option on the fountain. It's gonna have to get fixed.
I just know that if it's not working Memorial Weekend, that you won't see me, cause I'm not showing up down there for nobody. I'm just not gonna do it.
Who wanted to buy the park for the county?
We still maintained it.
We've maintained it for all the years I've worked here.
We'd still be fixing it even if the county owned it.
Yeah.
Well, we're spending more on it than we bought it for sure.
Well, good thing
Yeah.
you didn't have to pay
You have
money
to,
for
you have
it.
to understand though, it's been here over 100 years and we've spent very little money on it. I mean, it doesn't, you know, and it's the pillar of the community. I mean, you know, that's what everything that we do comes from there, so.
How much would you average that we end up spending on our parks as fertilizer, fixing sprinklers, that stuff? I mean, if
Couple
we,
$1,000.
it's not bad.
No.
So what is 25,000?
You wanna give him authority just to approve up to that?
And then if we're looking like a lot more.
I
more
can
than
get it
30.
here for that and then you can figure out the rest of it when it gets here. Let's do that. Is that all right?
It'll cost you twice what it does to get it here.
Well, that's
When
what I
you're- when
say.
you're
I
all
think,
said and
I
done,
think
it
we're gonna
costs
have
twice
between
the
20 and
purchase cost.
25 in it. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I'd be lying to you at
Yeah,
all.
'cause
I really don't.
Well, just to purchase it's 13,000.
We
then you
think
pay
somewhere in the
freight,
neighborhood of 13 to
Then your
14,000,
freight.
plus the freight,
And then we help Trent set it and then pay Trent to finish it off.
yeah. I mean, we'll help him as much as we can.
Did he even
Or
throw
we
you a
gonna
price
need
what we're looking
motion
at?
on that?
He doesn't
Or
know.
consensus
Until
be
we-
all right?
Yeah, until we
you-
know.
you're
I mean, you
gonna
know, like I said, he could patch it, but you're not gonna wanna do that, cause he'll be back in a year or two, we'll be doing it
Well, I was
again.
just saying, if we know it's gonna be 6 weeks and we're gonna go with this thing, I'd half-ass that, paint it, throw water in it, and at least if it holds it for 2 days.
You better walk over and look
You're
at it
missing
before
this
you
much
say
off the
that,
top of it.
Yeah.
because it's at a point we cannot repair it.
Cause they went in to repair it and found that it was.
It
a
started
lot
falling
more-
apart.
in a
You
lot
gotta
worse
take, you gotta go
condition.
take a look at it.
I mean,
There's
I don't know
nothing
how
to
many,
repair
we
it.
used to use a material
nothing
called
to put back
Thurasil,
on there.
that we paint on it. I don't know how many coats we put on it over the years.
Alright,
I mean, to cover it up, but it still leaked like a sieve. But, you know,
yeah,
I'm at your mercy. Whatever you tell me to do, that's what I'll do.
just,
So what do you think?
do you guys think 25 or
I
not?
don't think I wouldn't be surprised at 30. When you're all said and
If you
done.
got 30 grand, I would make a motion to just let him spend up to 30,000. If it's more than that, then he can come talk to us. But you're either gonna fix it, or you're gonna just take it clear out, take your pick.
And
That's your two options.
Well, the option would be if it's not gonna be done, to knock it down and try to clean it up somewhat.
We're gonna try and do everything we can. I
Okay, so
mean, I'm
30
serious.
grand.
So I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
The motion is to just give him spending authority to spend up to 30 grand to fix
Yes.
it.
Correct.
And if it's more,
Yeah,
We'll come back,
then we'll
yeah.
come back.
I'd second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
It's a lot of money.
All those opposed?
I abstain. I
Abstain?
don't know, I don't know enough about it to vote
Okay.
on that. I'm not doing
Jim?
that.
I kinda don't know enough about it.
Okay, so,
I'm not opposed to it, I just,
right, understood. I have two abstains. Motion carries. 3-2.
And I may have more information in the next few days to make you more comfortable.
All right.
I'll let you know as soon as I know.
I'm just not willing to take the chewings that come with
I know the
not having
feeling.
that fixed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know the
I
feeling.
think it needs to be done. I mean,
Because
Okay.
we either fix it or we're gonna get run out.
That's all I've got,
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Jeff, on the lift station out there, are both pumps working or just one right now? or
The shafts are
you've
wore
got-
really bad. We put new seals in both of them. See, those pumps work off a vacuum,
Right.
and they pull a vacuum from the seal on the pump around the interior above the impeller, and they must have 10 inches of vacuum before the pump will kick on. And those shafts are wore so bad that this is the second set of seals we put in there in less than 3 years. And in order to pull them pumps down and put seals and shafts and everything else in it, it's gonna be about $4,500 a motor to do. And we can't let it go down. I mean, the thing is, we can only do one at a time when we do it. And it depends on the time. If it was in the winter time, it'd be easier to do than in the summertime where there's more load, but it's just wore pretty hard. It really is. I bought about $1,500 worth of parts this time, stuck them all in there. I mean, we keep a few extra parts. I can get them in a day. They come out of Kansas City. But it needs to be addressed at some time. And I've told some of you guys that were on the council, I don't know how long ago it's been that we discussed that, but this guy that we use, he comes out of Leon, Kansas, southeast of Wichita. And he's an authorized repairman for Smith & Lovelace. And he gets from time to time used lift stations that people have taken out and upgraded. And he goes completely through them and then sells them. And he had priced one to me for about $26,000, which is about 20% of what it costs to replace that station. That station's in $170,000, $180,000 range, somewhere close, probably when it's done. So probably 15% maybe of what it costs. And he'll warranty them for a year when he does it, but he hasn't sent me back a deal. When I talked to him when we had him out here a couple weeks ago, he does have a couple that he's rebuilding, but you know, when I get that, when it comes to me, I'll bring it to you. Then we can discuss that. If we do it, we probably don't want to pull it till the fall, you know, so we'll see. But it'll go for 6 or 8 months this way. Should be fine, so. Anyway. See, it's all different than the one that's on Fifth Street. The one that's on Fifth Street has grinder pumps in the bottom of it.
Right.
So we've had, no trouble with them, so anyway. We upgraded one side that has 2 pumps in it. We upgraded one earlier this spring and went from a 1-horse pump, which was about a 22-gallon a minute pump, to a 5-horse pump, which is about an 80-gallon a minute pump. And we want to go ahead and put the other one in, but we just haven't had the time to do it. They're about $2,800 a piece. So, and we had the second one up, and with the excess water that we're getting now from the grocery store and that stuff, it's just, we've kept it clean. We use some chemical in there to keep it clean, keep that lining clean and stuff, and as long as it's clean, the pumps will stay clean. And we just haven't had any problem with it, so.
Any other questions?
The pool taken care of, like I remember last year
Not
we did it
yet.
at the last minute.
We haven't touched it yet.
And it cost us a lot.
It goes there next.
Okay.
We were gonna take some concrete out and repair some stuff on the north side this spring under that slide and some of that. We've got a leak in there somewhere on the return. I asked David to put it off until next year. We're just gonna put some water in it because we really don't have the time to wreck it out with all the other stuff we got going on. And I don't wanna cut it to the last minute.
Yeah. Well, last year we filled it up. Had to drain the whole thing, right?
Yeah, we had a leak in that big crack in the floor. Yeah. But yeah, we had some stuff, we had some things we were gonna do to it, but we're gonna put them off for next year, so.
Okay, any more discussion? Moving on. City Attorney, John.
Other than your memorandum under old business, I don't have anything.
Okay. I don't have anything for council at this time. Moving on to old business. Fuel purchasing.
Taken care of.
All right.
Oh, no, that's for Isai's, for White's. Like,
What's taken care of? I just, when I was checking into us purchasing from White's Food Liner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant about the fuel we took on. My mistake.
so, from my understanding, we can apply for the Phillips 66 card and have that be another card, credit card type thing, or they can go in and charge it to our account.
Did you?
I did not confirm that. I went in there and talked to him a few times about the Phillips 66 card, and they couldn't ever show me the paperwork. So,
Didn't hear no interest rate or anything?
do what?
You
They-
didn't hear the interest rate? or
No, I went in 2 or 3 times in the mornings and asked for the card, or like the booklet thing, and she wasn't sure where it was, so.
Because the other options, the old fashioned way where you go and tell them to turn the pump on, you fuel up, go in and sign it, and then you can leave. And that's a way to be able to get fuel through there. And my only concern with the credit card is if we got charged an interest rate by, if we happen to miss a meeting to sign it and not pay it. It's kind of a pain in the ass about it, but I really want to help that business out.
It makes no difference to me.
I buy fuel in Maxville, and we go in, everybody writes the vehicle down on the ticket, the mileage, and signs the ticket.
I would rather see it
That's
that
the way we
way
do.
than
Yeah.
getting
And
the
they
card.
bill me monthly at the end of the month.
The
and it's not due
supervisors,
till
all
end of
have
the month.
cards.
It might be better than a
And we
credit
sign
card.
where they go to, and they sign it, and then I code it
If
to
they
where it
do
goes.
that, that'd be.
If they'll
So-
bill us at the end of the month and take it at the end of the next, it's,
Well, I caught Matt, which was the manager when they first started out. I caught him outside his house, and he's the one that said, last I heard on it, because there's a new manager, when they were discussing it in their emails, was that that's what they were willing to do, but he didn't know any more about it. So, if they're willing to do that, if that's the case, we're Jamie, or I guess, or Jeff, I don't know who could take care of that. But as far as like,
We already have an account.
so as far as when, like, what would be easiest for you guys? I mean, I was thinking like 1 month purchase from one place, the next month at the
That's the
next.
way we used to do it a long time ago. The problem that I'm probably gonna have with these is that there's no place on there for them to write which vehicles those go into, because we take that money out of everybody's budget. You might sign a ticket, but you might be in my pickup, or you might be in a dump truck, or something else, see, and we have no way to designate where that fuel goes.
And how are you doing it now?
We do it, on our tickets at Kansas, when the guys get them, they have to initial them, and then they write on them which vehicle that it goes into. Because, see, we're taken out of about 4 different departments.
They won't. You don't think there'd be anywhere on that signature pad to?
That would be up to them.
It's not a what?
That
I
you
mean,
just-
all they're gonna give us is probably a credit card deal that we sign, or a
No,
sheet of paper.
You go inside. He
But
said-
that's what I mean, but we'll sign a sheet of paper. See, they'd have to designate on there, they'd have to make it convenient enough that my guys know to write down what it goes to.
I wouldn't-
Because when I come back, I have to code that
Uh-huh.
to the different departments, see.
How do you guys
Put
sign
that on
right
your
now?
signature.
We sign them on the tickets now.
if my guys can figure it out how to
Yeah.
sign a ticket and keep it
I wouldn't be
simple
surprised
between
they let
vehicles.
Jamie make the booklet how you sign. I mean, all you just print it off like this.
If you
and
did that,
actually
yeah, and
unit
just said it
number
goes to this,
Yeah,
sure.
and It is, I
Yeah.
mean, that's his,
Yeah. Yeah, if they'd accept that, as long as we know where they
print out a
go.
receipt, like every time you charge, they print out 2 or 3 receipts actually. So
Turn them in and match it up with the book.
Does that sound good to you guys?
I would
So-
rather see it that
One-
way than.
Monthly, 1 month, next month, back and
That's the way
forth.
we used to do, we used to
Whatever
alternate
they
them.
wanna do.
Just where it's 50-50, help them both out.
All that being said, it's 2 cents a gallon cheaper at Kansas and you get a dividend.
We don't get a dividend.
You will, you can become a co-op member and get a
We
dividend.
do not get one right now. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why not?
City's probably never bought stock in the co-op.
I
It's
assume
not
it's
that hard to
possible,
do.
right? It's like $50.
I have no
It can be
idea.
something, maybe worth checking into. I mean, if we're still buying fuel from Bonanza, then maybe a little bit.
Well,
I can check into it.
there you go, Jamie.
Any more discussion on that?
I am opposed.
What about on the police department where, like if we go out to the Hample or to the Kansas, we use a card and say we're in the middle of pumping fuel and we get a call and we have to go. We can't just run inside and sign a ticket. Are we gonna be able to go back in there?
You're supporting two businesses. You stay doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
Good job.
The only reason we don't carry two cards is because the guys that get them lost. I mean, you can't imagine how many places that card can go in a day.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, moving on to the next thing. Memorandum from attorney regarding division of duties and responsibilities.
Jamie and I put together a proposal, and it started by my review of what I think you guys are looking for based on your previous discussions. And so to simplify it, we highlighted what her current statutory duties are and then what duties that she performs now that she probably doesn't have authority to do on her own.
Making me tell on myself.
And then what duties that she does that are probably would be considered the duties of another department head, so you can kind of see what the differences are as far as how her duties would be expanding. I then kind of put together, I thought about doing this a little differently, but ended up just typing it out, what a chain of command would look like in this kind of scenario. And then she added examples of, where she's working and then she's kind of stuck being able to finish what she's working on because she needs authority. Typically that would be from the mayor. And when the mayor's unavailable, then issues just kind of simmer or sit there. I did not take the next step of drafting a charter ordinance because I just have no idea where this is going to go with you guys. I just don't. I know that there was a push to get this resolved as fast as we can, but you also don't want to pay me twice to do something I could do once.
yeah, we probably can't afford you the rest of the year. Well, I mean, it looked okay to me, but
I thought it looked fine. Something I'm interested in. Is that something, Jamie, as far as keeping the, just you two girls in the office, still be able to manage these new tasks?
New tasks.
I mean, this can be undone as fast as it's done. Now, it's a charter ordinance, which means you guys adopt it, and then the waiting period is like 60 days
For
to allow, after it's published, to allow a protest to the adoption of the charter ordinance. So it takes effect automatically after that time period, similar to when you guys adopted, well, exactly like when you guys adopted Sunday liquor sales.
So could it be like these duties and I still just be the city clerk?
To be honest, I think what you would want to do is to be the city administrator. So you're comparing apples to apples when you're communicating with other cities. I guess I'm against redoing the ordinance to the extent to eliminate the city clerk position. You have the city clerk position, you have an assistant city clerk position, you have a treasurer's position. I forget what else is all in there. But
Utility billing.
if you start redoing it and then you need that later on, then you're adding. I mean, I just don't see the need in rewriting all the laws. I think you just add the city administrator position. You appoint the city administrator, And then you don't have to worry about whether your books have the duties for the city clerk, because those are covered by the city administrator.
So what checks and balances would we have in place as far as checking, just, I mean, is Jamie just signing the checks and that's it?
Well,
or-
what you do is you give her the spending authority you want to give her, okay? Just like, you would for anybody else. She's not gonna be able to sign checks. Checks are gonna have to be signed the same way that they are signed now. But what's going on is that she's not bringing you for your approval. You guys are reviewing
Mhm.
how she's doing things. She can go ahead and make some decision. $3,000 could have been paid. Okay,
Mhm.
she could have presented that check to Mark.
Yeah.
It does, you guys, it does put a lot more on her shoulders, okay? Instead of kind of this division of responsibilities across the department heads, Jeff's acting up, you go to Jamie and you hold her accountable, is what you can do.
What you did. I mean, kind of don't want that. I mean, if,
You don't wanna give that up, you mean?
no. There's concerns I have that I really don't feel like speaking about in open session. It's more of a performance, her performance,
Sure,
what it
I
would be
understand
like. Is that something that,
That can be done in executive session.
I mean, this all looks good to me, but I kinda feel like we need to talk to Jamie as far as concerns that we might have.
And I will say that I've had candid conversations with her about, about all of this. I just didn't feel comfortable putting it in a form where you guys would read through it and adopt it
Mhm.
without those types of discussions.
Marshall, Ross?
There's not a whole lot that she's not doing already.
What's the rest of council think?
I mean, I'm okay with it. I think there are some concerns that need to probably be discussed. Not an open meeting, but,
It's going to be a right fit, right person type of thing. That's why I hesitate for you guys rewriting the statutes or the ordinances regarding your city clerk and stuff. Because there may be an instance where you just decide to hire a city clerk and repeal that city administrator statute.
Yeah, I mean,
Jamie moves on, takes a different job somewhere else, and you may decide that you can't attract somebody you think needs to be of that caliber to be a city administrator, so you just want to go back to.
well, yeah, I mean, that's why this position isn't just for any clerk anywhere. I mean, to me, Jamie's proved herself to me anyways, to be able to handle it, all these things. So that's why I'm open to it right now with having Jamie.
Without attempting to advocate, I mean, there are a lot of things that are discussed at meetings that do require the mayor to come in, that really could be, I mean, there could be some savings in time and stuff if she just had the authority to handle it and take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the welcome sign, which apparently you guys have a committee for, that was talked about when I first started a long, long time ago and has not heard anything. I mean, those type of things. Staying on top of the rec commission, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what does council want to do?
I think we need to talk about any concerns that we might have in executive session with her and come back to this and then decide from there, is my opinion.
Well, if it helps, I have the lift station tabled, so we can get numbers to you, and we can just go into our
I think
executive
your major
sessions.
concern in the long run is, like John says, we're kind of making this position tight fit for Jamie. It's also going to, in the long run, have some budgetary concerns because Jamie's going to want more money. And in the long run, when you look at the total budget, gotta figure out how you're gonna pay for it. And we have the infrastructure to pay for and the other things, so I think
The
if you're.
water fountain you pay for as
You
well.
got a water fountain to pay for. I guess, is that infrastructure, entertainment?
But I can go back to that, but it won't be right here. It'll be an executive session where I could go back to that. Very easily.
Yeah. Yeah, it may not be a job fit that where we need to set it in stone, where this is always what the city of
The
St. John is
city's
going
gonna run
to
off
do, but, for the time being,
If it fits for Jamie,
Yes.
that, you know, the next time you may have 3 people in the city office and not 2.
correct. Correct.
And our biggest budget concern is employees.
Right,
And so anytime we add one, we've got to figure out how we're gonna pay for them.
exactly.
Well,
Okay, so
Ross,
do
you're
I hear a
being plugged.
motion
You guys
for
run a lot of
executive session?
employees.
I make a motion
You need
to amend the
it.
agenda
And we need to
to go
amend the
into
agenda on
executive
this one.
session.
Can't it just go under the one we had?
I don't know what these are for.
One of them is,
One of them is for my employee,
Oh, yeah, we can
Performance.
do it there.
can we discuss it there?
Yeah.
just make it
All
longer.
relates
Just
to
make,
Jamie.
all right,
And then just go back.
yeah, we'll just make that one 10 minutes. Okay, I'd like to get an executive session to discuss individual employees' performance pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception to include council, mayor, and city attorney. Can I get a motion, please?
Is Jamie in on that or not?
No.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? All right, motion carries 5-0. We will resume at
We should have just sat over here.
8:07. Call this meeting back to order. Do I have a motion on the table?
I'd make a motion to return to executive session for
Make it
another
15.
15 minutes. Same people, same personnel, non-elected personnel.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. We will resume at 8:22.
Another one,
Put
Jeff.
it in play.
Call this meeting back to order.
I don't know.
Do I have a motion on the table?
Make a motion for 5-minute executive session to include council, mayor, attorney, and Jamie. Non-elected personnel matter.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. We will resume at 27 after. What's that?
You can go ahead and do the other 2
Call this meeting back to
executive
order.
sessions and then come back to this one.
So they can leave at least.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Do that. That's a
Okay.
good point.
Okay.
Fell out.
I'd like to ask for a 5-minute executive session to discuss individual employees' performance pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception to include council, mayor, city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will resume at 33.
You did.
Call this meeting back to order.
Anyway.
Do I have a motion on the table?
I would make a motion to, following the employee performance evaluation, give Jeff Williamson a 27-cent raise.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Vote carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Okay. Like to get a 10-minute executive session to discuss possible hire pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception police department to include city clerk, council, Sergeant Elliott, and city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
I I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We will resume at, let's see, so at 46 after.
Pardon?
That article, I think that's what you
Call
said.
this meeting back to order. And I get a motion, please.
I'd make a motion to hire Tori Perez for a full-time police officer at $15 an hour.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
I'm opposing.
You're opposing? Motion carries 4-1. I'll see us opposed. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, that's done. Okay, we'll go back, take a, what do you want to do this executive session for?
I think you need to include in your motion, a motion to amend the agenda to add this executive session.
Right.
Okay. How long do you want to have the meeting for, gentlemen? You want to have this executive session? What do you want to
I
do?
think it's just gonna take probably another 10 minutes.
Okay, so 10
No,
minutes?
15.
15? All
Make
right.
it till 9 o'clock.
I'd make a motion to amend the agenda to add in an executive session for non-elected personnel. What do we do, personnel matter?
Yeah.
To include council, mayor, attorney. We want Jamie in here?
Yeah.
And Jamie for 20 minutes, or 15 minutes.
Till 9 o'clock.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We will resume at 9 o'clock.
Nice chairs.
Call this meeting back to order. Council, what do you want to do?
I'm not ready to make a decision. I don't know if you guys wanna delegate it anymore, but I'm not voting for anything right now.
Do we need more discussion on this? Do you want to table it?
The next meeting.
What are you going to decide if we go for 15 more minutes? You think we can come up with a consensus, or are we just gonna be here?
Yeah, something I don't like is keep tabling stuff and tabling stuff.
I feel the same way.
I would like to get it figured out tonight.
It's been a month now,
We've thought about it since last meeting.
no one
We
before.
need a decision.
So,
I would move to go back into executive session for, I think, 15 minutes. Make sure we get everything figured out, discussed, to include city clerk, mayor, council, attorney.
July 16th.
After.
Yeah, you probably round that up.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. We will resume at 16 after 9.
I'd make a motion to pay Jamie Getty $26 an hour, effective immediately.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Do I have any direction from council? Put together anything?
I would say, go ahead and start the draft the charter ordinance for administrator.
Anybody have any changes to that?
This isn't really in legalese. I'm trying to make this simple.
It looked like a kindergarten did it. Hours.
I did that part.
I don't know if it should be an emotion or a suggestion,
This probably should be a motion, that's a pretty big
but I
deal.
would move that the mayor and clerk begin to implement as many changes in this administrative position and implement cross-training of city staff and getting people trained to take on the power plant and other things, and start the administration of this already as soon as possible.
I have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a-
We need a motion, don't we?
I don't know. if
This
you
is a
need
pretty
motion
big
or
deal.
consensus, but that's fine, the motion's okay.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
This is a long break between council meetings, the next one's not till the 7th. If I get council a draft by like 30th, can you get me responses, changes, proposed, redrafts, so that we can put it all on the table and look at it once?
Yep.
Yeah, you'd send it to us so we could make changes and then bring it to the meeting and we can discuss it at
No.
the meeting.
No.
He wants to be able to have it done and finalized for the next meeting.
Or
Well, how do we
options.
agree on any
We-
changes?
If somebody wants to tweak it, I can make that tweak and we can have kind of proposal 1, proposal 2 kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, certainly don't reply all those emails, but.
I usually do send a reminder for that.
I don't reply all.
Okay, without any other business to discuss, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed?
I've had a lot of fun tonight.
Motion carries 4-1.
Water question.